live. And there we go. Hello and welcome to another day in the Milky Way, everyone. I tell you, we are rocking and rolling here. We are cutting it short, but by gosh, we got Al who's frozen in the corner over there, and we got David Castle who's trying to come on. And like Doug Stack says, let's get this party rolling. Oh, here comes Lucky Stone. You know, when you ask some people, they all just seem to come on in. So anyway, let's see. There we go. We got Big Al who's got is hooking up trailers right now, but that's all right. We got a loaded show for you tonight. We're going to talk about cataclysms in history. Hey, and it's David Castle, everybody. Look at that. How you feeling, man?
Much better, thank you.
Well, we're going to send you a lot of positive energy and hope that you feel much better. By gosh, it's good to see you're up and around again and moving at least. You're on the weight loss production plan, aren't you?
Absolutely. The flu is a lot better than the Weight Watchers.
Yeah,
no doubt.
It happens fast. So anyway, yeah, I was worried if you were making or not. Hey, Lucky Stone's on in the house. All right, how you doing,
Lucky.
Man?
How you doing?
I didn't know if David was going to make it. I didn't know. Trina, I guess she hasn't made it. I haven't heard from her yet, but we're all going to send her good energy and positive much favor to you, Trina, if you're out there listening. So she might not have service or be busy. So that's all right. But anyway, thank you for joining me, Lucky, and David Castle. I know you're under the weather, and if something happens, you need to go or you don't feel you can make the rest of the show, you just let me know. Okay. But
gotcha.
Tonight we got a good show going on. We're going to talk about the past and if the past repeats in the future. And I think that's an important thing. And I think, well, actually, I don't have to think about it much, but I think, as you can see by our title and the background I got here with the Inky and Enlil, story. Oh, let's see if I can turn my lights just so. Sometimes they work real good and sometimes they don't. There's Big Al up in the corner. You get your trailers hooked up.
Yeah, we just disconnected them.
Ah, okay. All right. Now there you go. There's a good look at. If you guys want to be a trucker, it's not much fun. Look at that.
Actually, it's pretty easy. It's the easiest job I've ever done in my life.
Really?
It's just it's a video game.
And he is breaking up, and that's the way it goes. That's the life of a trucker. Sometimes he has signal, and sometimes he doesn't. But all the rest of us got signal, and that's what counts. Lucky Stone, what's going on in your part of the neck of the woods?
Just garbage, I fell down and I actually got the VM vaccine on Saturday, on Monday.
Oh.
And I've been sick ever since.
Yeah, I feel bad for you.
Well, so they paid me, so I couldn't go to work because, of course, I'm.
Okay, you broke up there. They paid you because you couldn't go to work, and uh-oh. Everybody's having problems today.
That any better?
Yeah, I can hear you again.
Yeah, I moved the connection.
So you got it, and then you got sick.
I got sick I've been sick for a week. I actually went to the walk-in clinic where they gave me the damn thing. Yesterday, and they go, yeah, unfortunately. I said, well, I was told it's going to take 24 hours for it to come through. They go, well, sometimes it takes 1 day, sometimes it takes 4. Yeah, it's just how it is. And I got to do this all over again in another month. She says it might not happen. You might have no symptoms the next one. Jeez. They don't know. They don't know anything. They have known nothing. And but my company paid me because they forced me to have the damn thing. So
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a shame. Lucky.
Yeah.
I had no choice. I was put in a corner because I make the money for my family and my insurance. It just I had no choice. They
Hmm.
put me in a corner. They had me by the short hairs, and I complied.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel bad for you, man. I mean, you knew it was coming. You were telling us this in like December.
I knew it was coming for a few months, but I was always trying to get my way around it. But of course, I always
Yeah.
had that premonition to say, it's going to come. We're going to do what we can, but there's a very small chance that you're going to get out of this.
Well,
Yeah.
did the CEO take the jab too?
I don't know. He says he does. He claimed he does, but of course, there's no
Okay.
proof of it. But he claims he did.
Well, this mandate is illegal, right? You know that only Congress can vote this in, right? You know that, right?
I know all this. The problem is, it's not. It's one of those things where the company is imposing it.
And then when they fire you, you turn around and sue them for $1 million.
Well,
That's what people are doing now.
that I didn't have the balls to do that. I didn't have the whatever. I didn't have it in me to do it.
Well, they each his own. Like it says, you got to do what you got to do to take care of your family, I guess.
Yeah.
I just hope it doesn't come to bite you in the ass later on.
It never will, because my body is only a physical thing. My spirit is much stronger, and that's one of the problems I'm facing. Is just my spirit is out in the world, going whatever it can, and it's very morbid. But this is a very short time. We're only very because of my experiences.
Yeah.
Being spiritual is much better than being this physical mortal body. But I still have to do my job. Finish my job. My job is not done yet, no matter what I go through right now.
Well, what I was thinking is more or less not on that respect, but it's like for your family. You want to go to work and you want to provide for your family, but if something would happen to you later on, then you can't provide for your family. Hope you got good insurance.
Yes, that's the truth. That's the truth right there. But those discussions were made, and decisions came down, and I said, okay, I'll do it.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll just hope for the best for you. That's all we can do.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Trust me. I had a lot of searching. I think that's what a lot of the show is about today, is because of you. Believe it or not. It was my contemplation and I had to do a lot of thinking on this. And my thoughts are, if you have free will, right? And if you know something is coming and you have free will, and then, how do you get out of it? No, you're going to go through with it, but you still have free will. And I'm thinking, if that was me, I would have done a lot of different things, I guess. And I think sometimes, I guess it's really hard to put in words, because what I'm saying is do we have that free will, or really we don't have much free will, out of it all? Because in the end, you're still doing the same thing. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like playing chess, and somebody boxes you in a corner and you only got 2 moves. There you go. You don't have much free will. Right. Is when you first start out the game. That's right. And
did Trina get aboard, Robert?
Get a what?
I said, did Trina get in touch with you?
No, she didn't.
Hey, what'd you think of all them angel cards I sent you?
Oh, I like them. I haven't had time to download them. Otherwise, be showing them tonight. But maybe next week or during the week. I'm going to do a few shows this week, and I'm going to have Zigzagzilla on. He's going to be joining me, and we're going to talk about some health things. And I might do an angel show again this week. That I did that last angel show. I think everybody really enjoyed it. And I have the angel deck of cards, these cards, and then with the ones that you're putting up with the sigils,
Yeah.
I think I'm going to have a hell of a good show. Put it that way.
Hey, my condolences to Wayne with his mom passing.
Yes, everybody. Wayne's mother passed away. I don't know exactly what her age was, but imagine she was in her 80s at least.
At least probably 85 to 90. Yeah.
Yeah. So, sorry, Wayne. We feel for you. I know what it is. That you, I haven't lost my mother, but I mean, I was real close to my grandma, and when she passed, it was devastating, to me.
Yeah.
It was really hard.
I watched my mom die in the hospital. So it's but I think with Wayne, he did his show and I don't think he knew about it until after the show.
Well, and it's one of those things. What can you do? You can't,
but
people die, they die. And then...
So Lucky, there's a lot of remedies you can take. Talk to Masha Price. Give you a lot of remedies to counteract what's going on.
Yes, we have been discussing it, and before the jab, I was taking some stuff. During the jab, I did some stuff, and after the jab, I did some stuff. I'm not saying.
Are you taking the second shot?
I'm going to say yes for now, but maybe since I was out a week from the company, they might see the light inside. You know what? This guy wasn't out. He did his part. Maybe they'll give me an exemption, but probably not because corporate companies, corporations. Yeah. But if I keep my mouth shut, maybe they'll let me go. I'm going to, because we have a health group in the company where their job is to look over all the cards and say, this person's okay. This person's submitted their card. I have to get an exemption because I was supposed to get the second one by November 1st. But I didn't.
Do they pay for sick leave?
Oh yeah. Yes, they have to. Yes. Because that's one of the things is there.
You got vacation time accrued?
That's the weird thing is the week previous to this one, I had taken a week off from work, and then that Monday I got the shot. So basically at the end of my vacation, I got the shot and got another week off. So basically I had a week of vacation and a week of sick time.
Well,
so it's a roller coaster.
Yes, sounds like it. I tell you, I wouldn't want to be in your shoes.
Everything works out for the best, no matter how bad it seems. I know that. Unfortunately, right now I don't have my normal support system. I don't have connection to the spirits anymore.
Oh wow! So you think that was because of the jab?
I think it's my own stress. I think I'm doing it to myself. I can blame it on the jab, but I think I'm doing it to myself, my stress. And of course, one of the big things is for me is too much emotion cuts me off, which is why for me, when I drink, which I haven't had alcohol in a long time anyways, if I drink alcohol, I get the connection, a little bit of alcohol, not a lot. So of course I'm totally relaxed and I get a lot of the connection, but I have a weird connection with source anyways.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, you'll have to let us know if it comes back.
It'll be coming back. It's still when. I don't know when.
Well, I hope so. I mean, that's kind of a cool thing that you got going on there. I mean, how weird it sounds, but it's really cool. I mean, I don't have anything like that I can think of, but it's just, it is kind of neat. It is very neat.
So they decriminalize shrooms in Massachusetts, I heard.
I did not hear that, but that's because I don't watch the news, so I have to look into that.
Okay, that's I'll just say that's very uplifting. That's all I'm going to say about that.
I have friends who are into that kind of thing, but again, I haven't talked to them for a while because I'm on Facebook, but I pulled off. I've actually have I have actually 3 separate Facebook accounts. One is because I just cut off because I just can't deal with family and friends who are so deep in the government mindset. Because it's liberals are all good, they're blind.
Yeah. I don't blame you on that one.
The worst thing is I hate Trump. I've hated Trump for forever. But now I accepted Trump as president. He was okay. He did do a lot of good things for the indigenous people. He did a lot of good things. You know, he was still corporate mindset. He was still 50-50 good, bad. Fine. I'll accept that. Biden, there's nothing good about this guy. Absolutely. He'll kiss your face and we're doing it for your best interest. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be doing this anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's getting a little old.
Yeah, I got to stop talking because this is your channel and I might get you in trouble. But besides that, no more.
Yeah. Well, like I said, you know, we can all watch some of the stuff that he's doing and how it's affecting this. I went shopping today and the shelves and spots were very empty, and put it that way. It was not a pleasing sight to see. Here's another experience. You know, when it starts affecting you in the real world, like in your life, then you start saying, oh my gosh, something's wrong here. When I went to get tires and the guy says, well, we might not have many tires to pick from. And I look over and he says, well, we got those 6 tires.
Wow.
And he says, okay, do you have 4 of this? He says, yes. And then he calls me back a couple hours later and he says, no, we don't. We only have 2. We'll have to order them and we'll get them another day for you. Mm-hmm. And you're lucky to get those, he said. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, wow, I can't even get 4 tires for my truck. That's a bad day.
I hear you. That's what's happening to me. Stuff that I'm always able to get, to go to the store, grab it, come home. I go to the store, the shelves are empty, and even the secondary and the tertiary choices from it, the similar things, they're not there. It's gone. Nothing.
Are you in a manufacturing plant, Lucky? What are you doing?
I work in pharmaceutical manufacturing.
Because if they try to mandate this from the trucking industry, you won't see any parts.
You know what? They're having trouble as it is because they're competing with COVID manufacturing. So they're competing with the COVID vaccine manufacturing. So they're out a lot of products that their mainstay. So they've been doing the secondary and tertiary. And my job is I'm in quality. So I have to write up documents to say that it's okay for them to use these backup things. And here's why it's okay. And they keep going further and further. And yes, they're stuck. And there's a time when they're going to run out of supplies and they're not going to get any choices. And they're going to say either they don't make it or they make it with unapproved parts.
Right.
They're getting close. They're getting close to that. Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy. What we're going through right now is absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, this is insane. I didn't think it was going to get this bad, but I'm telling you right now, this is why I'm at an advantage right now in the trucking industry.
Yeah.
Because we won't stand for it. We'll just stop. And there won't be anything anywhere.
Yeah. Well, and that, but see, that's the thing is if you guys stop, they were already talking about, they're going to just have the military step in and say, heck with you guys. And will that come to pass? Or is that what they want to do? Is that the mission all along?
Right.
I think it's a dog with no teeth.
Maybe.
I think they say that what they're going to do it, they're going to have the military do it, but the military's already overextended, I've heard.
Well, yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can tell you right now, inside information that it's the military is going to tell who, where to go and when and how to go.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree. I agree.
I that's one of my intuitions before was that once they call upon the military and force the military's hand, they're going to stop and say, this is too much, and that's when things are going to turn around is when the military, who the backbone of the country, are going to say, no more, Mr. Person.
Yeah. Remember, we are not on a station that's approved of all this stuff. Because
exactly.
I'm trying to get a bunch of people together that want to talk about this stuff. I want to have maybe 4, maybe 5 at the most at a time and do some round tables.
Great
and
idea.
what we're going to do, and if you want to be a part of this, just email me and say, hey, yeah, I want to do this. and we'll tape this, and
Yeah.
then we'll put it on the Brighteon channel, which won't censor, and you guys can say every word you possibly want to say about you know who and you know what.
Yeah. Jules just sent me an email about Australia too. They're fixing to clamp down on that government, shut them down legally.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
we could do the same thing in this country too. We just need 13 people per state with a de jure constitutional court, and we can shut down this fraudulent corporation in Washington, D.C. Just shut it down.
Yeah. Well,
That's what needs to happen. And they know it.
takes people and money and all of that kind of good stuff.
13 people per state on a de jure constitutional court can shut the fraudulent federal corporation down legally with the pen. With this right here, with this pen, power of the pen right here.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I couldn't believe what Jules sent me an email tonight. It's incredible. They're nailing it down.
I hope so.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I know. I hope they set a good example. They're in more tyranny than we are. David Castle, I know you're awful quiet, not feeling good, but how have you been to the store? Are you getting medication from the store? Were the shelves empty there?
Yeah, most of our grocery stores, there's several empty shelves, and if you go to a Walmart or the dollar store, we still have major supply shortages with cat food and dog food. There's a lot of things that just you don't have a choice anymore.
Wow. Yeah. I agree. Yeah. People, remember, you're not the only one that eats in this world. Your dog, your cat, your goldfish even eats food, and you need to supply that. So buy some extras, for them. I know I bought several extra bags, put them in storage just because, and put them in somewhere where the mice ain't gonna get them too. So just word to the wise, but stock up with some of that stuff, because we don't, David, we don't want to see Rufus get all hungry, and starving like. And lucky you got your cat there, and we don't want to see your cat get hungry either. Although cats don't eat much, do they?
No, my cat moved out.
Oh, your cat moved out?
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, you had that cat wandering around all the time.
The cat decided to want to live with the neighbor. It's one of the most bizarre stories. Yeah.
Huh. Go figure.
How many pups you got left, Robert?
I have 2 pups left.
Wow,
I
that's
got
great.
2.
There you go, David. Hey, David, you're closer to him than I am. Go get one.
Yeah. I don't need to know. I got Rufus. He's enough to handle right now.
Yeah, there you go. And speaking of handling, I want to say hi to all the people in the chat. There's a whole mess of them tonight. I want to say hi to David Null, who's in the house. David, we're going to do a show this week. I got a lot of time. This week I'm not on call, so that's all good. Jill Jarrett, she lives in California. Lots of food growing here, lots of vegetable farms. Well, Jill, you just make sure you got some in your fridge. Big shout out to Susie Q, who's in the house tonight, and Nina the Mystic, and who's going to have some kind of costume party, which I can't remember all the details to it, but she will fill you in if you want. Just go check her channel out. Nina Fetty is in the house, and she says shelves are empty again. Oh, I'm a hermit. Yeah, well, make sure you got some for that little bitty baby. Michelle Can-Am Free, I love you all so much. I love you too, Michelle. Thanks for coming in. Renee Hushelson. Yes, how do we send you an email? You send an email. It's in the description below at milkywaysoultribe@gmail.com. It's in the description. Check it out below. We got Isby's in the house. Hey, Isby, how you doing? And Mary Wins and Gaza Cav from all the way over down under in Australia there. As we were talking, supply chain here in Melbourne is really bad. Normally at work, we get at least 1 to 2 containers a day. Yeah, we're down to 2 a week. Ooh, that's not good. And Doug Stack is in the house. He's trying to sell me some tires. Well, but I'm sure the shipping would kill me. Max Vision is in the house. If Max, you got a show on, post a link right after the show. You know, because Max has got a good show. Trust me, remote viewing is the thing. I just ordered a book on remote viewing. And when it gets here, I want you back on. We're going to do a show. I sent you an email. There you go. Scotty Boy's in the house. Hey, Scotty Boy. And well, let's see, who did I miss? Michelle. Jules is in the house. We were just talking about Jules here a minute ago. And Truth Seeker's in the house too. Thank you for coming. I think I got everybody. I hate missing people. And Emperor Rex joined us. Emperor Rex, how you doing, man? And I'm sure there'll be more people popping in. And Slightly Slanted Blue Steve, who did post a video with the puppy he got from me, which is the cutest darn puppy ever, I tell you. So there you go. Delaney Pearl Jones, not missing this for nothing. Delaney, when can I get you on this show again? You got a computer that works again, or your phone is working? Good connection? I want to see you here. I do. And Dar Smile just popped in. Hey, how you doing? Okay, well, let's get on with the show. I'm glad everybody can make it, and we're doing good. So what we're going to talk about tonight is how all of this must be the cause of something else. Now, we can't really talk about what's going on now because that would be taboo, wouldn't it? And we would all get in trouble for it. But if we look back in history, we can tell that things happen which made other things happen, and then something like this could happen to mitigate what those things are happening. So what I'm going to do, I kind of got some fun stuff lined up for y'all, and we're just going to go through and comment on it and work off of that. We're going to just make it what we want. Okay. And we're going to start out with this. I hope all of you guys can see that. You guys can see this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm just trying to figure out how this works. I want to make it bigger. Yeah, I guess that's I don't know how to make it bigger. Slideshow. Oh yeah, here. Record slideshow. If I learned how to do this from current slide. Oh, there we go. There we go. How's that? Now it's taking up the whole screen. Now I just need to figure out. Oh yeah, here we go. Okay, so our past is future. Okay, so back in the day, we had this guy, the big guy, and you all know who that was, right? That's Enki. And Enki was, supposedly the creator of everything. He was the big time ruler and stuff like that. And there was another thing, and that was called an ice age, which is called a cataclysm. And this covered, most of the planet. Now, we know things like this happen at intervals of 6,000, 12,000 years. And this here happened, 12,000 years ago or so, or something on that order. Mm-hmm. I'm not exactly sure. But if we go to this slide, here we can see where it covered. Now, if you're in one of those states that are in white or kind of white, have you noticed it's getting really cold in the wintertime? It's more cold than normal. And if you lived in Texas last year, did you get a little bit cold? And, which was out of the normal. If this happens again through some kind of cataclysm, you won't be growing a garden in North Dakota, Minnesota, or Wisconsin, Michigan, Indiana, or Iowa, or Illinois, or maybe even Ohio there, New York, New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine, all of those states, even Montana. It's going to be flipping cold, you will be lucky to grow a garden, grow food, live, period. Now, these things have happened in small. Remember that back in the late the 1600s, early 1700s, there was a small mini ice age, or maybe it was somewhere in that time. There was a mini ice age, affected everybody. Crops froze in July and things like that. So you imagine what would happen if the corn crop of the United States froze off in July? There wouldn't be no planting. There wouldn't be no harvest. It would just be over. Okay, so this is what I got. It's actually pretty darn fascinating when you look at a galactical map of the Northeast, compare it to today's climate weather patterns. Like I said, it's pretty similar. Let's use this past winter, for example. There was a way off Long Island Sound was icing over, the way there were mini icebergs in the Rhode Island Sound, Nantucket Bay, Cape Cod Bay, etc. The way the snow covered was mostly north of southern New Jersey. It is as if the pattern of the climate we know today is following the way the ice sheet was. Even how the NWNJ, whatever, is included in the galactical area. I guess that's what I'm saying is I can picture how it is during the ice age and who was getting the snow, Arctic air, icy waters. Seeing Long Island Sound ice over was not something I even saw in my lifetime. That was pretty, I just copied this off of somebody, what they wrote. So in the galactic area. Okay, so that was one of my things. Here's our ruler Enki with the, you notice he's got the wings and things, but if you took all the beard and stuff like that, and he's sitting in his chair and he's doing nothing, he reminds you of somebody, doesn't he? What I'm saying is anyway, we're just having a good time with this. You guys got any comments? Just let me know, eh? So, okay, where did my cursor go? Oh, there it is. So as far back, here's Enki again. And what's he doing? It looks like he's got he's got little fishes swimming up. He's also I think known as Neptune. I think he was one of the gods that eventually he was the water god, the earth god, Enki. He's got looks like a piece of corn in his hand. And fishes, corn, food stuff, man. He's got food stuff. Here's some more depictions of things that happen and stories that happen, thousands and thousands of years ago. And they're trying to, what I'm saying is they're trying to tell us what was going on and what was happening. See, and I think how it relates to us now is that they went through this and they survived somehow or some way. They went through it, they survived, and now here we are. I thought this one was fascinating. Here we got what we would call like a dragon, if you want to say he's a dragon, but he's a dragon. He's got feathers, he's got big claws. There's Enki, and if you haven't noticed, he's got his watch in his hand, that little watch thing that they always have. He has the forks, the fork, because he's Neptune, so he's got that little fork thing going on.
Trident.
Trident. I was trying to think of the name. Thank you. I'm like, I was worried there. I was like, oh, I know what that is. But anyway, you look at this slide. Now, I hate to say it, I'm looking at this slide and okay, there's Enki and Enlil. Now Enlil was his brother or other brother who was the badass. He was the war god. Anyway, but if you look at this is the original picture. Okay. Now, here's the thing. If you look at the first picture, now this is where people, I think, get fooled. You look at the first picture, you're thinking that he's fighting the dragon. He's going to kill the dragon, right? But if you look at the second picture, the way they have this, it looks more like he's training the dragon or making the dragon do something, like in a, what am I saying? Like in a circus or something, or what I mean? Like a lion trainer, because the guy standing in front, he just isn't quite afraid of what he's doing. But now the second guy running after him with the little forks, and tridents, he looks more like the lion tamer, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You got, when you start researching stuff, you really have to start looking at things a little bit closer, because well, anyway, okay, before I get to this, okay, we should talk about that. Oh crap, I'm gonna get this out here. Oh, huh. Well, I screwed that one up. I don't know. Oh, there's Doug Stack. I didn't know I sent him how did I get out of here? Oh, there we go. Woohoo, I'm back. Shrink that. There's Doug Stack. Doug Stack's coming in. I don't remember sending him a link, but hey, he's in. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. And if you have any comments about that. So what do you think? Back in the day, the gods, we're just going to say them as the gods, Enki and Enlil, they ruled the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they created, in the Bible, there was a story about God trying to destroy the world by this big flood, and he saved a few people. So my thought is if God knew there was something coming up like this big cataclysm, would he not try to say, I can only save a few people. Here's what we're going to do.
Hey, Robert, Doug Stack wants in.
I did. I let him in already.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Yes, I did. Hey, look, we got Tanya Roses in the house, and we got all kinds of people flowing in. I had it covering my screen. I couldn't see everybody. So, Dana from Melbourne is in the house. All right. Oh, let's see. And so anyway, what do you guys think of that?
It's interesting creating the problem and having the solution ready. And, that's what keeps happening. We're going to save you from the big, crazy, terrible thing that's happening, but they created it. And that's really what that picture kind of shows, is that dragon thing was going away, and it seemed like it was, he wasn't fighting it. It was going away. So he was going after something that was going away, and the guy who was coming towards, he didn't care.
Yeah.
So it seems like, it looks horrible, but those in the know it's all for show.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that indicated to me. It was very interesting. I'd never thought of it that way. And what would God do if he knew the cataclysm was coming? Who would he save?
Yeah. Yeah, well, exactly. And here's the thing. Okay, I raised a ton of animals, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to say anything about, whatever, but the thing is as a farmer, you raise animals.
Mm-hmm.
And then what do you do with those animals? You pick out the best ones.
Mm-hmm.
And you pick out the smartest ones. You pick out the brightest ones. You pick out the healthiest ones. You pick out all those good traits, and you take the other ones to market, right? Well, if you do that, you're just left with the best of the best.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you were going to do that with humans, as they did back in the day, you would pick out the best of the best. And how would you separate the best from the best? Because I hate to say it, but all humans are kind of liars,
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to give everybody a test because people cheat.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying that you would cheat, or David, you would cheat, or Doug Stack would cheat. He's not a cheater. Neither is Big Al. But then again, if you want to get on the boat, you might just do that.
But there's more, because
Yeah.
I happen to also live on a farm, and we raise pigs, and we didn't save the smart ones because they weren't easily manipulated. They got out of the pen. They were a pain in the butt. We got rid of those first because they were causing too much trouble. We wanted the ones that produced the most meat, but were the least trouble. So there's more to that story, which you're actually kicking into my little head.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
we
Well, it was just true. I had pigs too. I had one that was so smart she ate all my chickens,
Oh
and I
my
couldn't
God.
figure out how she was eating the chickens. I would throw the slop to the chickens or the pigs, right? Well, the chickens were running loose, and they would jump in with the pig, and the pig would wait, and then she would stomp on them, and then she would literally eat them whole while they were alive. I watched her do it. It was the grossest thing ever. And then she learned how to get out. I had this pen. I had it built real good, but she figured out which post was loose, and then she would go there and she'd pull up the whole fence. And then she'd get out and the fence would go right back down. And then she'd get out. I was like, I'd go out there and I'd wiggle all the posts. I couldn't figure out how she got out, but I got rid of that pig.
Exactly. The pigs, because they're just too smart.
Yes.
The smart cows, even the smart horses, you can
Yes.
deal with. Because we had smart horses that could open the gate for them. They could open the door and get in the hay thing, but they
Yep.
weren't as much trouble as a smart pig. So yes, you
Mhm.
would pick the smartest ones because with a horse, you want a smart horse, but with a smart meat pig, you don't want a smart pig. So yeah, there's a lot to the story that I never considered.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
your place in society, and is being smart your detriment or your benefit?
Yeah.
Wow.
You want a mediocre one.
Mhm.
Doug Stack, what do you say? What say you?
What's happening?
Yeah, how you
well,
doing, man? Nice to see you coming on.
Pretty good, pretty good. How are you?
I am good. I'm glad you could make it. What do you got to say here, by gosh?
Well, I think we passed what I wanted to touch on, but
Well, we can
talking about,
rewind a little bit here. No problems, man. No problems.
well, now I got a thing about a smart animal. I got
Okay.
a smart pit bull.
Yeah.
This dog, I have to keep him on a stake when he's outside because he learned how to climb the fence to get out front. I bought him a kennel,
Yeah.
and he scaled the 6-foot kennel in 5 minutes. And then when I put a chicken wire over the top, he just lifts up the bottom of the kennel and gets out.
Ah, well, you know what? I'll tell you what, they'll fix that in about 5 minutes.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, well, I could, but coming home from work, I'm just too tired. I think maybe tomorrow, if it doesn't rain, I can get that all taken care of.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, Lucky, you know what I'm talking about with the pigs. We're the same way. Pigs are really smart, right? And that dog is really smart. He'll climb up that fence to get to the top. But when he gets to the top of the fence, you put in a small electric fence wire. Go to town, buy yourself one of them $25 cheap fencers, run that wire all the way around the top of his kennel. When he gets there, first thing he's going to do is hit that with his nose. He ain't getting out no more. He's done.
No. Pit bulls are a different breed. I've trained dogs. Pit bulls are a different sense of intelligence. They will take so much pain. That's why they're pit bulls. They can take so much pain because they're so focused on what they want to do. They're a different kind of animal, and training them is different than any other dog. Even border collies, the god worst. Honestly, you've got a border collie.
Yes.
They are so intelligent.
Yes,
They are so incredibly intelligent. They are the worst dogs to train because they know better than you. Even though you, of course, you're a human being, you know better than a dog. But they are dogs that know better than you, and they will herd you. They will manipulate you because that's what border collies. Pit bulls are the same way, but they have a different kind of intelligence where they have this thick skin, and they're able to take much more. I don't know, pain. I don't know. Pit bulls are trucks. You got trucks with intelligence. Yeah. So training a pit bull, God, you've got God's work on there right there.
Sorry, Doug. Thought we'd have better information for you.
Oh, I know. But going back to the coldness and how it's been getting colder.
Yeah.
I believe the that winter you were talking about, I believe it was in the 1840s where they didn't have a summer. They had, winter. And that, honestly, this line that we're being fed, that man-made global warming, it's not true. what caused that was I think a VEI 7 volcano explosion,
Yep.
and it took what was it, 2 or 3 years for it to pass, and
That is
that's why you got
absolutely
you got the potato famine. And just look at it now. La Palma's going off, Kilauea's going off, the one in South Japan is going off. I think we're in for a very cold winter.
Oh, I agree. I listened to Suspicious Observers, and that guy, I can't think of his name now. It's off the top of my head. Whenever I think of it, I can't think. But anyway, never mind. Suspicious Observers. He does the weather thing, and he talks about space stuff every day. And he said, this winter things are just the Bover Dreyfus or whatever effect is coming in, and it's going to be a cold winter. So put some warm clothes on, get some fuel in your tanks, and be ready for it, because it might be a little difficult.
I'd say buy the fuel now.
Yes,
it's going up. I mean, last week we were at 289. Today we were at 309 a gallon, and that's just for the regular 87 octane.
Yeah, absolutely. I know. I mean, it's amazing. Up here, we're paying in North Dakota right here at the pump. It's $3.24 for unleaded, and $3.50 or $3.24 for unleaded, and $3.54 for diesel. It's like, whew. But I know in California, I'm sure Ben Davison, that's it, Susie Q. Thank you. Ben Davison. Need that little Ben part to jog my memory. So here's the thing. You're right, Doug, you're right. So here we're going to go on a little bit with my screen share PowerPoint. And as soon as I can figure out where I was, here we go. Okay. This is what, okay. And from current slide, and there we go. I hope that shows up good.
Yep, I see it.
Okay, good deal. Here, this is, since these are the people, the Chinese were the only people that really kept really good records besides India, but the Chinese were the most available. So we're going to go through some of this. So if you follow these dynasties to see how long they were in operation, you start to get a feel for the numbers. I don't know if any of you could do some quick math, but look at here, the Zing, I think it's Zhang dynasty, 21 to 1600 BC, unconfirmed. The Shang dynasty from 1600 to 1050 BC. So you're talking what, 600 years or so, give or take. The next one, you got what, 3, 5, 6, 7, 20, 25, 3, that's 600 years, 700 years, somewhere in there. You start going through, and you start to get these periods of time that start to match. If you look at it, you know what I'm saying? They start to have a pattern to them. Now, somebody out there who knows more about numbers could probably look at this and start really saying, hey, look at this one, and believe it or not, if you start looking up those numbers, they correlate with changes in the weather, in the seasons, with cataclysms, like you were talking about, Doug, with the big volcano going off. The volcano goes off, you don't have a winter or a summer, you just have one big long winter, and you don't have any crops. The dynasty will change either that year or the next. Okay, here we got the 6 dynasties, 220 to 589, which is right around 300 years there, 3 kingdoms, 220 to 265. That was a short one. Here's the Wendy. Wendy got her own dynasty. That was a short one. They're trying to get back on their feet. So they did the 600 years. Then you have a start and a collapse and a start and a collapse, you know, because they didn't take hold. They were still in, I can see they were probably still in this, you know, food shortage. And then all of a sudden you get up there, short, 4 years, you know, 20, 30 years, 20, 30 years, 20, 30 years. Look how long they went through this, flipping dynasties over the kingdoms over and over and over and over again. Why do you, what are your thoughts? Why would they flip dynasties so fast?
Okay, well, I have with China, you have to look at China. You have to
Yep.
look at what they're doing. Recently, they've bought up so much land in Africa, in America, in these certain, you know, latitudes and longitudes, because their record keeping is probably the best, and they wrote it down the best, and they've been around so long. It's something like 5,000 years.
Well, that's exactly, well, that Doug, I don't mean to interrupt you, but that's why I picked them, is because I says they have the best records. Now, if you have records, and I mean, it doesn't matter if they kept the records or we kept the records, they seem to know, you know, I mean, I can just look at this and start putting together a timeline of what's going on. And if I can do that in a few minutes, what do you think these guys did if they had some real smart guys studying on it for a month or two?
But like I was saying, in times like this where they can buy land, it's not about conquering land anymore. It's about buying land.
Yeah.
And if you see where they're buying land, they know the places that will be able to sustain growing. So they're buying that land up, so this way they can have food for themselves and charge whatever they want for everybody else.
Yep. Absolutely. Because if you don't have food, your society collapses. Because that's the first thing, you know, people, you get hungry, you know, what are you going to do for your family? You're going to do pretty much anything. Lucky, you're a good example of that. You need to do stuff, take care of your family. You're going to do anything you possibly can to take care of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
That's the point. And I remember stories about China building whole cities in Africa, and no one's living in them. They built cities in Africa with no one living in them. And that was weird. And they would say, well, just in case there's a population explosion in China. But it really didn't make any sense. This makes more sense. If there's a problem in China, they can move them out of China and put them into Africa, where, you know, it's probably these areas they're pretty arid, but they're probably, once there's a cold front, you know, with the ice age, it will push the water, you know, the humidity down, and that arid area will become farmland. This is very interesting. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, like I said, I've been studying on this. If you guys want to know somebody who knows a lot more about this than I do, who I'd love to have on the show, is David Dubine from Adapt 2030. That guy knows his stuff. Okay, here we go. We got more dynasties. If you guys, I put this on a PowerPoint. If you want it, just let me know. I'll send it to you. I got all this stuff off the internet, so it's out there. But look at this. You know, you can just look through these dynasties, how long they lasted. And you're right. If they lasted the longer, see, they were lasting 10, 20 years, 10, 20 years, 10, 20 years. See, and all of a sudden they start getting longer, you know. And then here we'll go on to the next one. Period of northern and southern Sioux dynasty. Look at that one. It's really, you know, you're getting up to 75, 80 years, 100 years. You know, it's taken them a long time to recover, so forth and so on. Okay, let me get back here. I lost my cursor. Okay, and then we have the Younger Dryas. This was a hypothesis. The Younger Dryas impact hypothesis. This is about a meteor or Clovis comet hypothesis. That fragments of a large, more than 4 kilometer in diameter, disintegrating asteroid or comet struck North America, South America, Europe, and Western Asia around 12,800 years ago. Multiple meteor bursts and impacts produced the Younger Dryas boundary layer, depositing peak concentrations of platinum, high temperature spherules, metal glass, and nano diamonds, forming an incurulous datum at more than 50 sites across about 50 million kilometers of Earth's surface. Some scientists have proposed that this event triggered extensive biomass burning, a brief impact winter, and the Younger Dryas. Abrupt climate change contributed to extinctions of late Pleistocene megafauna and resulted in the end of the Clovis culture. Now, with that said, have you guys heard anything about comets getting real close to, or asteroids getting real close to the Earth lately?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
Isn't
Yeah.
that really weird how that's happening? And they're talking about like nothing. Oh, it's never going to hit.
Mhm.
Oh, that's not. You know, they have people who study this stuff day and night all the time. They have giant telescopes all over the place. You think they don't see this stuff? I mean, we got, you know, now back in the day when you looked through a telescope to watch it, you're going to get tired of watching. But we got computers that you could pinpoint that stuff, and they can see 1,000 stars, 1,000 comets at one time and pinpoint every single one of them and which one's moving and which one isn't.
Mhm.
So there we go. Here's your comment. Did a comet hit the Earth 12,000 years ago? And will a comet, or has a comet hit 6,000? Has a comet hit every so often? Are we due to, now I don't want to spread fear mongering, but will a comet hit again? That's the big question. Will another comet hit? Roughly 12,900 years ago, massive global cooling kicked and abruptly along the end of the line for some 35 different mammal species, including the mammoths, as well as the so-called Clovis culture of prehistoric North American. Various theories have been proposed for the die-off, ranging from abrupt climate change to overhunting. Once humans were let loose on the wilds of North America, but now nanodiamonds found in the sediments of the time period point to an alternative, a mass explosion or explosions by a fragmentary comet similar to, but larger, even larger than the Tuscanian event in 1908 in Siberia, because this has happened before. They talk about sediments. Sediments, they can measure these diamonds, of course. The discovery lends support to the first theory, first advanced last year, and then some type of cosmic impact or impacts are raining down on the ocean, setting off more than 1,300-year cooling period in the northern hemisphere, known as the Younger Dryas, for the abundance of the alpine flowers pollen found during that the interval, the cooling period, interrupted by an extended warning out of an ice age predicted by slight changes in Earth's orbit, known as the Manavik cycle. Okay, so enough of that here. Let me get my cursor back here. I don't think, okay, so here we got the cycles. Somebody's already done the work, so I didn't have to. And if you go through, you got a 320, 305,000 year cycle. In southern Kenya, undergo technological improvements of tool making. See, and they got this mapped out. And as you see, every so many thousands of years, something happens and things change, which makes all the sense in the world. The question is if you knew that things were about to change, what would you do? That's what I'm getting at. What would you do if you knew things were going to change? Now, here's somebody who knew that things were going to change. And we're going to go to Göbekli Tepe in Turkey. Was built in the prehistoric people about 6,000 years before Stonehenge. And as you all know, they started excavating Göbekli Tepe about 25 years ago. Here's this German guy who did it, top the plateau. So it was on top of a plateau called Belly Hill. He discovered, okay, all this stuff here was discovered, but the big part about it is these structures are 11,000 years old, and they were put there, and then they were covered up by the humans before they could be destroyed from what? They were covered up by people. They weren't
Mhm.
covered up by a flood. They weren't covered up by, dinosaurs or something crazy or aliens. The people covered them back up. Let's see. After the conclusion, when I visited the house, they're working for reason he started farming. Okay, stone tools. Found the closures. Hunter gatherers. They believe these are hunter gatherers. If you're a hunter and gathering, you ain't gonna move big giant bricks and blocks because you're hunting and gathering. The tens of thousands of animal bones that were uncovered were from wild species, and there were no evidence of domesticated grains or other plants. Schmidt thought these hunter-gatherers had come together 11,500 years ago to carve Göbekli Tepe's T-shaped pillars with stone tools using the limestone bedrock of the hill beneath their feet as a quarry. Well, that's all great, but here you go. Here's a picture of what he found. If I'm a hunter-gatherer and all I got is some sticks and stones, you think I'm going to take all that time to build all that crap and move all the big giant 2-ton stones all around and set them all up and then fill it in so that they can't, you got to be kidding me, man. That's all
Yeah,
I
that
can
doesn't
say.
make any sense at all because that would take a lot of people, and hunter-gatherers are small groups of people. You can only survive on a small family, extended family groups. So it would take a lot of those extended family groups even to put this together. And why would they bother? There'd be no logical reason. You're right.
Yeah, exactly. And if they did, okay, so you got a group of 50 men working, or say, well, you're going to put that, you got 50 men working on it. Well, then you have to have, so many more men out there hunting and farming to provide food for them, because now you're not hunting and gathering, you're staying
Right.
in one spot. And then you have to have military to protect those men so that raiders don't come in and take your food and kill your people, etc. Then you have to have women and children and families, and you're starting to get into not so huntery gathery,
Unless they had another source of food.
which would be
Unless they
what?
were so far advanced that they had some kind of source of food where they really didn't need. Wow, this is a lot of information to process. I'm not even sure how to even go about this.
Well, no, but you're exactly right. It's like us, right? How come we have artists, sculptors, people who sit around and think and do stuff? Because somebody else is gathering their food. Somebody else is doing their work. You see what I'm saying?
But we still have farmland. We still have acres
Yes.
and acres of farmland.
Yeah. And why do we have acres and acres of farmland and yet nobody's a farmer?
That's a good point. So
I
what if
know
it's not?
plenty of farmers.
That's a good point. Maybe it's farther away. Maybe all this farmland was further away from Göbekli Tepe, and they just imported the food in. That's a good point. That's
Well,
a really good point.
Well, Doug, I know you know plenty of farmers, but when I was younger, I knew a lot of farmers. There was farmers up the street, down the street, everywhere you look. Now there's still farmers, but they're huge farmers. They're farming hundreds and hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of acres at a time. Not 5, 10. Most of the farms were 160 or 360. They had those chunks. You either have a 160 acre farm, or you had the 360 acre farm, kind of thing.
That's a good
Yeah.
point because a lot of the farmers are even the dairies who had the dairy cows. They're being paid not to have cows. They're being paid not to farm by
Yeah.
the federal
Farmers
government. Why is
The,
that?
fa- the farmers are being paid to plant corn and let it die just so they can use that corn for the ethanol
Mhm.
in the gas.
Yeah. Raise the
they get
prices.
they get ethanol is horrible for gas. I mean, it might be better for the environment, but the earth. Okay, I'm at a point where I think these civilizations that we're finding that are had covered up stuff, I think they were just as advanced, if not more advanced than we were.
Mhm.
It's just like, okay, I'll take an example. The Titanic, it went down in what 1912. It's been
Yeah.
underwater for 100 and 109 years.
Yeah.
If you go to the Titanic and you touch the Titanic, it'll disintegrate.
Yeah.
So what's saying over the course of, like, say, many replays back over millions of years, we wouldn't see their technology because it would have already disintegrated.
Absolutely. The only thing that will remain is couple of things. Couple of things will remain. Gold, which never breaks down, and stone.
Mhm.
And what do they usually find? Usually gold and stone.
Mhm.
And you won't find much. They write things down, and pieces of paper are brittle. They just turn to dust after so many years.
Mhm.
That's the only way to convey, through time, I guess. It's really weird. But anyway, I got this cool picture of the big, if a meteorite that big hits the earth, people, don't worry. There ain't gonna be nobody left to tell the tale. Put it that way. And here we go. And the ring of protected land around New Zealand's Mount Taranaki is surrounded by pasture land. Uses changes have been likely influenced species distributions of thousands of years, according to a new study. It's hard to deny that humans are shaping the planet Earth from atmospheric composition to urban heat islands and widespread habitat loss. See, climate change not real that way. Before and after comparisons revealed Persephus changes. These alterations among the justifications for proposed anti-Persephone geological epoch that recognize the domain role of the human activity and number of planetary permals that are and while those most dramatic changes have occurred since the Industrial Revolution, a new study suggests that our ancestors' activities were having dramatic effects on biodiversity thousands of years earlier, long before coal-fired plants kicked the Anthropocene into overdrive. And then it just goes into a bunch of things. So you guys could read that. Oops, that was the last slide. Anyway, okay, I gotta shut this part off so I can see Chad again. Okay, I gotta get rid of this part. Oh, there we go. I think I got that. There, I did it. I'm back. Woohoo! Hot diggity dog, boys and girls. I think I did it. Well, I hope you guys are enjoying that. I put quite a bit of work into that.
Very interesting, very thought-provoking.
Yeah, I mean, it's the thing is how, with all of that going on, if you can look back in those timelines, those things that happened in the past, and if it's like, well, what was I saying? I was watching a movie. I was talking with the girlfriend, and she says something about the timeline of the movie, and I says, yeah, well, in a movie it has to have, she said it happen in 2 hours, but if it happens in real life, it's going to happen in years and years and years, but they just speed it up. And that's what's happening. We're living in the years and years and years, and so you're the frog in the pot, and you don't see it until one day you go to your store shelves and there's nothing there.
You're right.
So how long it's going to last, I don't know. What's going to come about it, I don't know either. All I know is that there's something happening. And I'm trying to go back in history in my head and in my study and figure out how that relates to today, because as you know, everything is the same and it follows a rhythm. It just changes a little bit. So there you go. Anyway, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I had a thought about it. Honestly, we're in a constant loop.
Yes.
It's okay. We're doing it here. It could be happening on other planets, other places, but I mean, it's like I guess 45 that has a skip. It goes back to the same spot every time. I mean, That's my whole view on it. There is so much that we do not know and that we cannot prove, but we've all known, we've been here before, and this has actually happened. Like, if you go back into any part of time, any history in time, they always believed that this was the end. This was the end times. So it's like a constant loop. And I think Wayne Steiger had a show on that a couple of months ago. It's where he was telling a story where this one guy would go to the same place every time, and we're caught in a loop from like I think 1024 BC to now, and then it just goes back to the same thing. That's I believe that's pretty much true.
Yeah, we're just different people living in the same thing, but what I'm saying is if we're caught in this loop, right? And every time it always happens the same. And one guy from Full Spectrum Survival, Brad, whatever his name is, Brad, he says it's gonna be like it's freedom, tyranny, and revolution. Freedom, tyranny, revolution, freedom, tyranny, revolution, all over. Same thing. Do, right? And what we have our revolution, then we had freedom, then we have tyranny. Oh, we're kind of living in that. And then what's next? And if I was the guy, controller in back, people doing all the functioning, and I knew what happens in that cycle, the bigger cycle, not the small cycle, but the bigger cycle. And I could figure that out. What would I do to win? Because it's a game. We're in this game and we're playing. And if I was playing, what would I do to win? That's what you have to ask yourself.
Would you want to win?
Huh?
Would you want to win?
Well, yeah, they're opposite of us. We're just looking to live our lives and enjoy and learn and And they are looking to hold power and control all of us. At least that's what I believe. And you can kind of see that. So how do they keep controlling power? Because according to the cycle, revolution, freedom, tyranny. Well, what happens after tyranny? You got revolution. What happens to the controllers after revolution? New controllers.
Right. So the Anunnaki would probably want to prevent the revolution. So they want to eliminate the smartest ones. They want to eliminate the revolutionaries, and they want to make people weak they want more people who will comply, and more people who comply who will try to manipulate the revolutionaries back into, because that's what the Anunnaki would be doing.
Yes, the Anunnaki would be saying, well, whoa, we got too many people, revolting. Well, how did they do? We did it the first time when we had a big flood and we got rid of a bunch of them. We just kept a small portion of these people, and then we nurtured them back to wherever they needed to be. And we started over again.
I didn't think of that. I was just using that for another reason. Oh my God, you've got a great point there. The flood. What was the flood all about? Because the people were being too noisy. They're causing too much trouble. They were revolutionaries. That's why it was done. Oh my God, I never thought of that.
Yeah. There you go.
We think God is a good guy, but God actually was just, I need to keep myself in control. I've got to eliminate all the problems.
He's a farmer.
Oh boy, that's great. That's a good. I wasn't even thinking of that. I was trying to use a euphemism, but I was actually, wow, interesting.
Yeah. It's an interesting thought. David Castle, you've been pretty quiet. You got any thoughts on that?
I was thinking earlier when you were talking about the Chinese dynasties, and we all know that China is not good on saving the natural resources. They like to burn through their natural resources where there's so many people, and so it's like you said, it's a cycle over and over again. They just will move to somewhere else and buy somebody else's stuff up, and they're never kind of held responsible for running out of their own, let's just say, lumber. They cut down the tree, so it's kind of it's a strange thing to think about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It is a strange thing. Like I said,
Yes.
I tried to present this tonight so that we don't get in trouble with YouTube.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It makes you think, and we can all talk about it in a nice civilized way. Like, yeah, the Anunnaki did this, and why did they do that? And they were considered gods, you know, and da 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 da. And you can go on, and you can go back and read the stories. And if you start reading those stories and listening to how things went, you're gonna start to say, you know, how do I relate this to today?
There's even more to this.
Yes.
The Chinese, you know, the terracotta warriors,
Yeah.
all those hundreds of porcelain people, and because he just these were to present him to the other side, and they know where the emperor was buried under a lake of mercury, and they
Yep.
and they said, no, it's too dangerous to go in there, so we're not going to explore that area. That's not true at all.
No.
Chinese don't care about danger. They don't
No.
care about poisoning the people, the researchers.
No.
They want it hidden for some reason. Maybe they even seen it. The Chinese of today are different than the Chinese of years ago, but they still want that power.
Oh yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Because I don't think the Chinese of years ago would be burning through their resources, even though they were using mercury. But that's another thing entirely, because they didn't know what mercury was.
Mhm.
Or maybe they did. Maybe they had a better way. Maybe they had a way of, wow, maybe they had a way of neutralizing the mercury, and it wasn't actually as effective against. I didn't think of that either. But this is interesting. Yeah, the Chinese of now are different than Chinese than they were years ago. So,
Yeah.
but they're still trying to do the same stuff as take control of everything. Interesting.
Yep.
That's
Lana
human
says
nature.
she was, and she's seen the terracotta warriors, and it was beautiful. She says it's hard to breathe. But yeah, that's right. You're right. They don't care about people so much. Otherwise, they wouldn't have those factories that spew out all the smog. They would be like us and put all those restrictions on it so that they could have clean air. But they don't care. They just look at you and say, it's cheaper for you to put on a mask and buy some canned air than it is for us to, you know, stop our production, make it more expensive.
Even worse, at the plants that were making some of the equipment, they had to put nets down so people would jump out the window. But what they would do is give people trying to, you know, end their situation
Yeah.
working. So rather than, you know, dealing with the psychological injury that people are having, they put the nets out so they jump out the window, they end up in the net, and then they would just pull them off the net and put them back to work. That's what's happening, because
Yeah.
these people are so downtrodden, and these are not regular people. These are people who are intelligent engineers, and they just get sick of the life that they're living, making equipment for the American public so we can have our throwaway phones and throwaway computers. And I don't really have that because I have old stuff. Everything I have, my computer that I'm using right now is barely functional, but it's working right now.
Yeah. Wow.
Weird. But
Yeah.
yeah,
All I-
that's interesting. Yeah, they do burn through people.
Yeah.
All,
They got plenty
all
of
I
them.
know,
Go ahead.
all I know for a fact is we're living on a virtual onion. There's so many layers to everything that we just can't. You can't fathom the amount of layers that there is there.
Yeah. I think if you did kind of take it all in, your head would just explode. You'd go crazy. You'd be like, what kind of world am I living in? What's the point? What's the point of living? You don't want
That's
to do
why
that.
I'm gray and bald.
Yeah. That's your excuse, isn't it?
Yep.
Speaking of, not to get on the suicide thing, I don't want anybody to ever commit suicide, no. But I want to do, believe it or not, people, I want to do a show on suicide, and I want to find because I know a lot of you in here have either had family or friends who've, you know, tried to do that, or yourselves or whatever. But and I've seen it in the chat and people have talked about it. So if you know anybody who's wanting to come and talk about that or whatever, maybe somebody professional even that would want to come on the show, send them my way, because I think it's an important subject nowadays. It's happening a lot. People are very depressed, and I think we should all talk about that. I think it's going to be, it's a good thing to do. So that's my thought on it. I'm going to leave it at that. But anyway, Wow, we burned through our hour and 20 minutes already. Holy cow, did time go fast? I tell you, I appreciate you all for coming on. I really love my show. We're going to do a few more this week. Like I said, I'm going to get Zigzagzilla on, and David Null. I hope you could come on this week too. We're going to have a great show. We got to do another Indians, Myths and Legends. I'd like to do that. I've been so behind the times. I just got done with my 10-day, but now I am focused on the show. So thank you all for coming. Lucky Stone, Doug Stack, David Castle. I appreciate you all. Everybody in the chat, thank you. Much favor to y'all. Be the frequency you want to receive. Peace, everybody. Love y'all. And there we go.